Hello everybody and welcome to the League of Europe. We are here today for Division 3 Round 6 at Spain, and I'm once again joined by Verstappen.
Hello indeed, and welcome to Division 3. Yeah, we're going to be in for a normal round once again after last week's sprint.
Yes, Streets of Singapore certainly brought plenty of chaos to the track. Gave the stewards a fair bit of work. What was it in the end? Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 incidents they had to look at? Only one of which wasn't penalised. Actually, one of them was a penalty removal, but either way, kept them plenty busy for that. It didn't have too much effect towards the top of the standings. We've still got McLaren of MCR leading us away there after a fairly decent result last week. I think he finished, was it P5 or 6? P5 last week.
Yeah, P5 indeed. And with Kamke having an incident pretty late on and dropping down to 11th place. It's getting a little bit of ground there, 13 points ahead now. Him to still clear. Matt has gained quite a bit as well after his win in Singapore. And he's up to 3rd place in the standings on 80. He's about 34 points behind. And look at this. We're not in for a very sunny Spain here, as we're currently looking at full wet conditions.
Unless your name's Greg.
Yeah, he's already selected Inters. That's usually a thing a lot of drivers will do, especially if conditions are going to be changing or not. Check if the Inters are quicker than the wets, or if they're getting less slow, if that makes any sense. So that's you'll see a few drivers switch back and forth maybe.
Ibo going to be our first man out on track. I'm not seeing anyone else outside of neutral, so we'll hop on board with him. Let him guide us around here in this very wet qualifying session.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We already have a very high downforce track, so it's not that you can change a lot on the setup with it. You can get a little bit higher, I think, but that's right about it. And
it's energetic,
not much to do with that.
Feeling very ambitious. I'm not sure that will stick.
I highly doubt he goes out on that, but you never know.
You never know.
Yeah, it looks absolutely soaking wet. Still, obviously, a lot to play for, and we haven't seen, if I recall correctly, we haven't seen any proper rain here this season yet. So it's going to be a bit of a shot in the dark as to who's going to be the quickest out here.
Yeah, Division 3, I think, clear of rain. Actually, I briefly tuned into, I can't remember if it was your race or Division 2 earlier, but I saw a bit of rain going on in one of those.
Yeah, well, my race was completely dry, so maybe Division 2 had a little bit of rain, I'm not too sure.
Unless I'm completely misremembering and I've watched something else random, but yeah. Today, good day for motorsport today, actually, isn't it? We've had season opener for F1 at Bahrain. We've had the season opener for the World Endurance Championship at Qatar. Qatar's the better race, by far.
That would probably not be too difficult. Let's hope maybe round 6 of LOE is going to be thumping both of them.
That is, here we go. Ibo leading us around on the wet compound here in these very, very treacherous conditions. Not too many drivers going out on track just yet. You don't want to get your car losing a tyre this early on. Running deep there, just not the grip on the curb, manages to save it. But yeah, you can see just how much the drivers are having to fight the car here. Few are out on the Inters. We'll have to see what kind of lap time Crack can set. Here we are, good reference point. Usually Crack is 2 or 3 seconds ahead of Ibo in terms of raw pace. I'd say about 2 seconds at a track like this. Although that extends in the wet, that'll give us a rough reference for where it is all going to be.
Yeah, there's like a few other drivers on the wet and behind as well, looking at James Head, for example, one of the more competitive drivers, I think. And he is on a full wet tyre, so we're going to see what the difference is between them. Looking at the first sector split for Crack being 24/7. I'm not going to lie, these Inters do not look like they're working whatsoever right now. But it's quicker than James so far in the sector 1, so maybe I'm not visually doing this right, so we'll have to see about that.
Yeah, you can see Ibo, he's just fighting the car through these corners, even on the wet tyres. You can see how much They are needed, and of course drivers going to be on dry setups for the race to come. I think energetics with the quali ban, as there we go, a 28.4. I don't know if you have a reference for how far that is off the dry laps, but we will see how that is compared to. Crack is definitely going to beat that if he keeps it in the white lines through this last corner. Where is he going to set a lap time? It's a 23.9. Okay, so maybe the Inters are competitive. We'll have to see what the others can manage. Ultimate Muster, next driver to the line. He set a 26.6.
Is it already time for Inters? It looks soaking wet, but you know, if you're looking at James at 25.2, I would not be surprised at this point. So one of the Williams drivers is just starting a lap. Ryan B is on the lap, also one of the quicker drivers usually. He's heading through turn 13 and now into 14. Obviously we don't have the chicane anymore, which I think a lot of drivers are glad about.
Yep.
You know, it's a bit of an awkward one that was. But 25.6 again for Ryan B. I think the Inters might already be the quicker tyre.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to agree with you there. Crack showing it's worth giving it that much more of a push. Mr. Wowser will be the next proof of concept. And while I don't think it'll quite be a 23.9, it'll certainly be faster than most of the wet times. There we go, a 25.4. So, yeah, I mean, well, Crack coming off the back of the P2 last week, but still, he's...
yeah. I mean, it's either the fact that Crack is just absolutely quick here, who knows, but we're gonna have to see, right? A couple other drivers, I think one of the Alpines sorts in the lap.
Steven,
yep. Inters 25.0, still second of Crack here. Swayros 26.2 on the wets. I think Jaff is starting potentially. How work? Look at that, 24.9 on the wets.
Though I think Crack has just improved on the Inters by a fractional amount. So he's still on 23.9, but he has improved his lap that little bit. It's attempting to find who's the next driver to the line. It is Bosnia P3. It's energetics there with a quali van, if my understanding is correct.
Yep. Yeah, as obviously, well, he wasn't there last week and couldn't even serve it if he was there, so because there was no qualifying to be banned from, if that makes any sense. MCR just starting a lap as well. Camk is one of the drivers who's not been out on track just yet. I don't quite know if the race is going to be dry as well. So see Mr. Wouter coming out for a second lap. We see a lot of drivers do as well, just to explain it a little bit. Normally in the dry you go for one flying lap and that'll be it. Here you see a lot of drivers getting consecutive laps in, as Major Falcon and Mats are coming across the line. Mats into P6 and Falcon into P2. And just to get a rhythm and just being unknown with the conditions, it just helps by doing multiple laps in a row and just finding that improvement. As we see Steven and Swayros doing exactly that.
Yeah, the drivers, Jav P11. Still a lot of drivers with, well, learning the wet conditions essentially. I mean, there's only so much you can do. Drivers tend to not practice the wet conditions quite as much as MCR setting a purple middle sector. Him on the Inters, the tyre that seems to be quicker. Him, one of the quicker drivers. I think he's picked up quite a few with the pole position extra points here. I think, well, of the 5 rounds, has he got 3 poles?
Yeah, 3 of the 4 that you could get a pole position point at. He did get it. So let's see if he's going to make it 4 out of 5 here today. Comes across the line and puts himself into that position currently, 23.8. McLaren looked absolutely rapid right now.
Yeah, certainly good start on McLaren 1-2. There's Mr. Wildser, there we go. 23.5 is the 3 laps to learn the Inters, and he's showing that that experience is paying off. Just a few extra laps to learn the tyres can make the world of difference.
Also, especially if we're still close to the weather conditions, as Major Falcon once again improving to 24 flat. If the condition is still like close to the full wets, the Inters are going to take a little bit of time to get up to temperature, and the more laps you do, the more temperature you'll get into them, and that's even more improvement. So we're going to have to see how this goes. Obviously, it depends how much fuel you get yourself in the cars. Crack has put himself back ahead of his teammate, about half a tenth of Mr. Wouter. So yeah, then doing quite well right now.
So here we go, Flip, not the strongest lap from him, but he'll still be learning the Inters, getting them up to temperature. You can see the top five drivers all setting their laps on the Inters. Flip actually the only man on the Inters, not right up towards the sharp end of the field, and a whole host of the drivers choosing to go from the west to the Inters, seeing how much more effective they've been for other drivers.
MCR 3/10 up for the second sector split, and across the line he goes pole position. 23.4, 10th ahead of Mr. Wouter. I think Ryan B just starting a lap there as well. Axel, I think, just on the out lap as well as Cam K, so all drivers that can be out on the track have now done that. We're going to see if Cam K can get adjusted later in the session. Maybe better conditions he can use.
Yeah, but at the moment, I mean, you've got those top three drivers who do just seem to be that slight step ahead, but with so many of them not really touching the Inters just yet, now actually going round on the Inters 4 laps, it's hard to tell where everyone's going to slot in, because these guys who've given themselves that extra experience on the Inter, they're going to fare better. But of course, there's only so much that can do against raw pace. Some of the drivers further down just have that pace on them. Ryan B being one of them, he's going to move right the way up the order. Maybe not his first lap on the Inters, but certainly a lot of potential for him as a driver. Let's see this middle sector split. Yeah, 1.4 seconds green, a purple middle sector. 1.4 puts him at about a P5, and of course that still gives him a last sector to work with. If he can find 8/10ths in the last sector, sounds a big ask, but if the Inters are that much better, he could be looking at provisional pole here. Slight bit of traffic, not quite on the apex, but the curbs can be a treacherous place with weather like this. Again, missing the inside curb, a bit hard to judge the grip, but towards the line it is P4, it's a 23.9 for him.
Yeah, saw the lap there from Ryan B. And now everyone that is on track has switched to the intermediates, just Swip having the wet selected and not having switched just yet. So that's all good. Mr. Wouter's on an improvement, and he's going to come across the line here, and a 22.9 is going to put him a half a second ahead of MCR. Is the track getting better? We'll have to see. Major Falcon still going around there as well as one of the Alpines. I think Match is starting a lap. Then it's Mr. Perro's 1.3 up, so I have to go on board with him, I think. His teammate just coming across the line as well, and slightly improving about a second there, 27.2. With Mr. Perro getting a little bit wide there, coming through turn 13. Keeps it valid, but definitely not going to have him gained any time. And across the line at 25.2, only put in P11.
Yeah, Flip, I think he struggled this lap a little bit, half a second down on his previous, so going to try and find more. James Head to the front, my goodness. His first lap on the Inters as well, a 22.5. Well, he's done well for himself. Slayer P13. My goodness.
Slight improvement for Bosnia as well, at the P5 he goes. And I think it's Jav just coming across the line, start the lap from the Red Bulls once again. Ryan B, no, Cam K, that is, into P3. Ryan B is now, he's just going to start another lap though, he's not on a competitive one. Yeah, this track is definitely getting a little bit better, I think. Major Falcon 6.5/10ths up, could get himself back into the top 4 potentially. His last sector is good. 5th gear, back up to 6th for turn 14. Using the curb, love speed there, and a 22.9 just behind Cam K there.
Yeah, as Bosnia is off in a gravel pit, destroying the Rolex signs. Sponsors are in shambles as Matt puts himself up into P5. No, we've got McLaren Crack soon to be starting his lap. I think behind the Alfa Romeo going into the pits. Who is the next driver to get to the line? It is Flip. He's got 1.8 seconds over his previous fastest time. 5 minutes left in the session. No, he's into the pits. Okay.
Might be strapping on a new set. Who knows? We'll have to see.
Maybe. But
so we're also on a slight improvement here. Just clattering the curbs a little bit too much here. Might lose him a little bit of time. 24 flat. Puts him a little bit further ahead, but not too much. So Slayer puts himself into P12. One of the Mercedes drivers just going around once again. Jav into P11, just behind his reserve teammate Sueros. And just looking around, Cam K, you know, the Red Bulls both into the pits, strapping on a second set, probably as was Bosnia. Drivers have to be careful if they're listening in. There's a little bit of a bump on the pit entry. can catch you out a little bit if you're not careful. And I've seen drivers crash out of races because of that. So maybe a bit of a note to take. We're gonna have to see.
There's a lot of drivers now coming into the pits. I guess for fresh tyres. Ibo has stuck on mediums. He's not going out on track with them yet. Having said that, no, he's left his pit box. Okay, well, I mean,
thing to do.
He'll be the guinea pig. Just Crack to the front, another 22.5.
Yep, slightly ahead of James there. Just saying that this track is improving, and Crack is going to be interesting to keep an eye out on, because I don't know if he's going to get back to the pits or that he's just going to stay out, do a bit of a cool down and go again if he has to fuel for it. That's why I would do it this way. Sway Ross into P3.
Do you know what? Ibo's managing on the mediums. He's not pushing just yet, but they don't look quite as treacherous as they could have, although... Ooh, never mind.
You say that.
Okay,
skidding across the track there. I don't think it's quite just time for dry tyres yet, but on this game it can change quick. Mr. Pro into the top 10 now. Jav just in behind, starting a lap as well. See how that goes. Steban 1.4 up, keeps going, 6th gear.
He's in
gonna
for
see
P7.
if he can get himself top 4, top 3 maybe? Cross the line, top
right.
4.
22.8 for the Alpine man. Looking good from him. Mr. Wouter soon to be starting his next lap. But who have we got next towards the line?
Steban's teammate.
The other Alpine.
Matt. Yeah, 6 up once again. This could be close to pole position, if not on pole position. Let's see how the Dutchman does. Cross the line, 22.4, just on pole position for now.
Yeah, for now, as I know, Crack's on a slow one this time around, doing a bit of recharge, but this next lap around this will put Mats under threat. We know Crack's got pace, he's showed it consistently this session. Swip on another bit of a cool down lap. Ivo is really struggling on these mediums. He'll be right into the pits, fresh set of inters for one last final lap. And interestingly, Swip and Harin Noir still have the fastest lap on the wet compound. They've not yet improved from those laps.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. They're coming out of the pits now, though. So, Swip is on the lap actually, and Harin Noir is just coming out of the pits. Sector. He's gonna have to hurry, but I think he'll make it.
Yeah, Swip finding 7/10 in the first sector, so already so much time available to gain. It's just going to be even more in the remaining 2 sectors. He doesn't look particularly in tune with the car, the tyre advantage. The fact he's got another lap to go round 4 does put him in good stead, though he does only have time for one more lap after this one, so it has to make one of them count.
Interrupt. Crack is almost a second upcomer for the sector 2 split.
Ooh,
and he's gonna go into the 21s, I reckon, here. He accelerates out of turn 12. This is looking very quick and a lot of grip it looks to have. A little bit shaky on the turn in there, but it's alright. And across the line at 21.4. He's putting definitely a good benchmark there. Can he go again? We'll have to see. He's gonna have to do it right away.
Swip invalidated a 23.1 in the last corner, and he's done. Would have put himself up into P9, but he invalidates in the last corner, taking out his current lap and the previous one.
Flip.
Therefore, he's done for quali.
Yeah, flip into P4 there on the inters. Yeah, for Swip, that's unfortunate. I would have kept going, just trying to get a lap on, even if you might not have the battery for it.
Well, so no, he invalidated 2 laps in one go.
Ah, yeah, this and next. That's unfortunate, to say the least. Bosnia into P2 there, 21.8, one of the ripples across the line. Kamke just starting nice. Sway Ross, I think, is coming towards the end of the lap, but he's going to try again. He's a little bit down on his time, so going to see Steban starting a lap. I think Mickey Falcon starting a lap, and I think everyone is going to be on laps as we have the Finnish flag, the black and white, come out there. And Ibo is done on the mediums there, and one of the AlphaTauris next.
Yeah, Mr. Wouter next to the line. Has he got improvement? I think he does. He's P2 for him, the 21.7. His teammate next to the line, Axel, swiftly followed by one of the McLarens. Well, it's Axel to P4, but oh my goodness, MCR flying up the order. Crack, he's made a mistake in the final corner, and that's cost him his teammate taken to the top of the timing board.
I think Crack was already done if I saw him earlier on the straight, but Yeah, McLaren still 1 and 2. Can anyone break that? James Head coming to the line. Yes, he can.
Oh my.
20.9. Great lap from the Mercedes. Flip into P7 just behind his teammate. Harry work. Lap on the Inters into P3. Good lap there. A bit of a surprise for me. But a great lap from the Greek. Slayer across the line. Only a 23.2 for him. And
Not
Jav
sure
doesn't seem to be...
Jav's got anything.
Yeah. Nope.
2 Red Bulls. That'll be Ryan B first. He's up to P10.
Ooh.
Cam K, the next man, P13. Can he improve? He's up to P8. A couple more drivers still to go. In fact, I can't count. Sweet Ross, next man. He's up to P6.
Yeah, and then it's just Steban into P7.
Falcon into P4.
Major Falcon. Yeah, Mercedes clutching there at the end. And yeah, great lap from James there. Only driver in the 1 minute 20s.
Yeah, very, very nicely done by him. Cracked the McLarens. Nothing MCR could do there. 3/10 adrift. James Head claiming pole position, claiming that extra point for pole position. And meanwhile, he is... Where is he? He's P11 in the championship. Not really had any standout results. Round 1 was his strongest result. He got a P6 there, but never been above.
Yeah, definitely. And championship is going to be interesting because MCR in second, Harden Warg in third. Good lap from him. Major Falcon fourth, and Skrak and Mats on the third row with Frey Ross in seventh and Steven in eighth. Mr. Wouter in ninth and Bosnia in 10th. Second place in the championship, Cam came down in P11. He's going to have a way to go. And it's Flip in 12th, Axel 13th, Ryan being 14th, then Jav, Slayer, Ultimate Mr. Pearl in 17th. And Swip only sitting a lap on the wets in P18, Evo in 19th, and Energetic with a Coliban and a last position on the grid.
Yeah, which of course always makes the interesting driver slightly behind where the pace would normally be. But so far Energetics has only had 1 point finish, and that was a P14.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not too hard to beat that one, is it? So a couple of DNFs, missed a couple rounds on top as well.
Yeah, true.
As James Head saying in the chat, is it bad? I still could have gone quicker. That is slightly worrying. As long as you've used a dry setup, we won't be too worried for you.
Yeah, obviously it looks all dry right now. And that's going to be a switch for the drivers. You're going to have to go from being very tentative on the throttle then to having to push flat out. Although, you do kind of go into race conditions, meaning the car is slower, heavier anyway, and the lap times might kind of be comparable. So maybe it's not that bad for the drivers. In terms of strategy, it'll be interesting. Obviously, all sets are now available to drivers, so there's a bit more strategic freedom that drivers can have, depending on, as we do not have a formational lap looking like it.
Oh, we do
No,
not,
we
so
do
lights out,
not.
and away we go, and the Mercedes there, James Falcon caught out immensely. As are we, the commentators, but James Head has held on MCR side by side with how you are. MCR actually looking to go for the lead into turn 1 here, up the inside on those mediums, but he's had to back out, not making it work in the end. James holds on to that pole. Meanwhile, some drivers just completely done. Major Falcon down to P11 now. And we got McLaren cracking the wall and crack out of the race, front right gone. That's surely going to be a safety car. At least a VSC.
Yeah, we definitely have a VSC here. I think a lot of drivers were called out, but for the H-lap just not being on, including Major Falcon, who's dropped back quite a bit from that. Yeah, quite surprising there. So we have Major Falcon and Steban switching positions. It's currently still a VSC.
Matt's down to 6 as well. James is down to P2. Well, I think that's more just through MCR and how you are battling away there. But a huge incident, almost reminiscent of the Hamilton-Rosberg one there. Is the VSC. Well, MCR's got done for speeding.
It's going to be a drive-through penalty for him. We see more cars going around to the back. Not too sure what's going on there.
Side by side, Axel and Bosnia. Axel up the inside through the final 2 right-handers, making use of the new corners on the track as MCR setting fastest lap. Of course, up front, Steven into the pits. I think he was involved in the incident that took crack out of the race. As what I was going to say before the race so really interrupted by starting, James Head has mentioned that there's due to be rain at the end. So some of the drivers perhaps are on wet setups.
That could be well interesting then. To the end of the race, top 4 are broken away a little bit, but obviously MCR is going to be out of the question there. With the drive-through, he's going to have to quite a ways to go back to.
There's some action going on further down. The Haas and the Alfa Romeo cars both swapping positions. Swip actually seems to be struggling a little bit, taking an odd line here. Ultimate looking for the move, not going to happen, although off into the gravel and up he goes into P16.
Yeah.
Further
Swip
up,
just
Jav.
struggling a bit as Jav indeed getting past Major Falcon, who just seemingly struggling a little bit here.
Yeah, and actually Axel falling off the back of Camke. Red Bull doing well once again. Well, that is a sight that was a bit sore for our eyes. There we go, MCR serving his drive through nice and early. As we've had a lead change that I have missed, we'll stay on board with this battle here for P5 as Matt's going up the inside of Axel. Has he got the move stuck? Yes, he has, able to block him off and hold on to that P5 as all. Actually, Axel making a mistake there, opens it up for Bosnia. Bosnia is on the mediums, so Softs will have the advantage for the moment, but he's got the inside line down towards this corner that I cannot remember the number for, and here we go. They're going to work. Is he going to hold it? He's certainly trying, and oh my goodness, we've got Axel miles off into the gravel there, avoiding the braking boards, which I'm sure the other drivers will appreciate, as Energetics is, hello, he's up in P10.
Yeah,
as expected.
must have been aware, definitely. He's still side by side with Axel here through turn 7. On the curb a little bit, but he gets the move done. Axel still very close behind though. But that's going to be it for now here. And yeah, Matt's making his way back through into P5 after a worse start there. Obviously a few drives in the pits as well as Mr. Burrows getting himself past another Haas. This time Slayer. He's into P13, the Finn, although he goes a bit too far deep and gives back the position then.
Yeah, oh, he's round, completely round. Oh no, that was odd.
Yeah, a lot of
Huge
lag there, I
connection
think, for the
issues.
Finn. I think James was saying something about it in the chat earlier, but yeah, a lot of lag there for the Finn. And down in P17. Hope he doesn't have any damage or anyone else was caused any damage. Doesn't look like it though. So you have more battling towards the front. As Hardenwark and Swayros are very close together here. Energetics and Major Falcon are fighting. The Dutchman into P9 here.
Yeah, the lead is okay. Sweet, looking for the move on Harren you are. Not quite there, but this top 4.
Axel still side by side with Major Falcon here as well. Benefited off of Major Falcon going wide for turn 4. Still alongside him, running outside of 7. Good battle, but he loses it himself and just tags the rear end of Major Falcon and is down and round once again. Long day there.
Ooh, and struggling to get his car back, pointing forwards. There we go, but he's dropped right the way down the order so far. In fact, he's back behind MCR, who had to serve that drive-through penalty he received.
Yeah, a few mistakes here up front between Swayros and Arnoark fighting away, and then I think Swayros lost a bit of traction. And now Camke is getting involved, so I'm going to go 3 wide down towards turn 1 here. Swayros losing out, so it's just Arnoark and Camke. Down into turn 1, the Red Bull's going to come out in the inside, and he's up at the P2 here.
There we go, turning P4 into P2. Absolutely magic there as Energetics getting the best of Jav. The Ferraris both making moves. MCR quickly getting past Ivo there. He's wanting to get a bit of recovery drive after that mistake under the VSC. One of the worst feelings as a driver, but I guess you'd rather have a drive through early on than later on in a race, especially if you know there's due to be rain towards the end. That's going to throw a spanner in the works of everything.
We're going to have to see how this comes towards the end. It's looking a little bit cloudy already, so we never know when that's going to come. So Axel is pitted on the set of mediums. I guess that's a somewhat wise decision. Actually 2 mandatory stops to be had, so getting 1 out of the way after a spin, not a bad idea. Major Falcon getting past Jav here. Jav's struggling on those stops right now. Mr. Wouter now right on the back of the Aston Martin as well.
Yeah, these Jav and Major Falcon do seem to keep switching positions, although, hello, into the pit lane for the Aston Martin driver. That is a very early one, and that is a strange decision. I wonder if going for the undercut before the rain comes, but here we go. Sui getting the move done on Kamke, as does Mats get the move done on Harin. Harin Noir now down to P5. We saw him up, well, challenging for P2 just a lap ago.
Yeah, just a thought process behind the pit stop from Jav here. I think he might be anticipating a rain. Because obviously if you stay out to the rain, you've only made one of your mandatory stops. Make two now, and make the best of the tires that you get.
Yeah, maybe.
If the rain is coming quite early, then it's definitely a chance that this is a good strategy here. He's ahead of Steban, Flip, Axel, who've all pitted already as well, and on the best tire. It's not a bad shout here. In the meantime, Brian B and Bosnia have caught up, and in the background we see Energetics going around through turn 9.
As does Slayer as well, going round through. Slayer's got no front wing at all. I don't know what Energetics has done, but Slayer is off in the wall. No front wing on his car whatsoever. And Energetics letting drivers back through. I wonder if he got involved in a contact with Slayer and is waiting for the driver.
I highly doubt that they weren't quite near each other on the track, so we have some action for P2, Sway Ross, Kamke. That's all keeping in one single file. I think Energetics lost it, and then he might be suffering some rear wing damage, as he did hit the wall with the rear end of his car, so that might be an issue there, as he is retired there, and I reckon that's probably what's happened there. Slayer's gone in, and he is gonna probably just pit to a new set of tires and a new front wing. So that's two drivers out of the race now.
Yeah, I mean, well, Crack, of course, caught out so early on that lap one. Very, very chaotic for the driver. Crack mentioning that he wasn't ready for it at all and people going crazy. But certainly, I mean, it's going to throw a lot of drivers off their rhythm, because a lot of them, especially coming from the wet weather, they want to get that kind of that lap to get their mind back into how the car feels, that lap to warm up your mind, and all of a sudden the race is on, you're starting, you're falling down the order and getting overwhelmed by everything around you. So easy to do. Race starts one of the hardest parts and one of the most important parts of the race.
Yeah, most definitely. See, a good start can bring someone a 1.7 second lead, as it has for James right now. Looking a bit further back, we're seeing Ryan B and Bosnia approaching and passing Harry Noark. Bosnia's going to have to wait in behind, but Ryan B can pass into P5 here. And now it's turn for Bosnia to try and find a way around. Mats is on the back of Kamke in the meantime as well, so that's another battle to keep an eye out on.
Yeah, as Bosnia actually is going to get a look, and he's going to get a look up the inside. Harry Noir is just falling down the order at the moment. He's really struggling in terms of race pace. Bosnia getting it done up the inside there. Beautiful move by him, but just no confidence. I don't know if it's the confidence in the car or what, but just pace not there for this Ferrari.
Yeah, I think the softs are starting to go off a little bit for all drivers. So obviously these two have made their way back into DRS and everything. So James has fallen back a second, and now Swayros is back into DRS. Quite not sure what that's about. Actually, it's getting darker and darker. I think we are definitely going to get rain at some point, but at what point is that going to be? We don't know. We're going to have to see. But yeah, Harry Noirk, his pace in the rain seemed a lot better than it seems in the dry, which obviously certain drivers can firm better with those conditions. So I guess that's the case for the Greek here.
It's, yeah, Energetics confirming your suspicions, rear wing damage, hence the retirement. There's Bosnia getting past Ryan B. The two drivers on the mediums, they're going to start making moves on these guys in the older soft tyres, who themselves will be thinking about pitting fairly soon. Kamke going a bit wide there. Does that open the door for Mats? Well, Mats is looking left, he's looking right, but he's not quite getting through anywhere. Certainly no shyness shown by the driver. But yeah, he's ready, he's hungry.
James has absolutely dropped at the face of the earth. He was well ahead, looking like the quickest on the track. A mistake may be later, and he's being reeled in by these three, just out of nowhere. We have to see if he can hold on or they can find his way back. As Swayros is going a bit deep there into turn 10, and going for an 11 and 12. I'm going to have to see if these drivers are going to stay out, try to maybe make the rain, or that they're going to pit pretty soon. Staying out for now.
Yeah,
These softs are not going to hold on that much longer.
I'd expect the first driver to pit on the softs to be Harry Noir P7. He's just really struggled with them. As here we go, we'll move for the lead. Sui past James. Another driver having a little look here. Camke side by side. Neither of them settling in. There's a slight little bump, and that's enough to put him all the way down to P4. Matt's making the most of it.
James taking that angle a little bit too tight is going to put him in a vulnerable position, and a little bit of contact there on the apex, but I don't think there's much that Camke could do, and yet James is falling back. Look how much he's losing to these top 3 right now, as Swip has gone into the pits for another set of softs. I'm looking at potentially a similar strategy to what Jav is doing, although obviously he's on 4-lap softs, 4-lap old softs already as well. So we're gonna see how quick that rain is gonna come, or it's just gonna kind of hang in the air for a while and only come at the end. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's possible the track just doing an impression of England, nice grey skies, but no actual rain kicking in, and that could last for the whole race potentially. Rain is forecast, of course. We don't know to what level, as we have not been informed by the drivers. So in the end, it might not actually be all that strong, but here we go, an overtaking opportunity. Sui to the right, to the left. Now going to have to hold his line, although he's done another little wiggle. Don't get caught with the stewards too much there. But in the end, he did have 8/10 to work with, and that was more than enough for him to hold on to his lead down that straight.
Yeah, Matt's getting a very good exit here on the back of Camke, but not quite able to make anything work down towards turn 4. Mr. Perez decided to opt for the pits here as well. Potentially seeing another set of softs here. Yeah. I suspect the engineer is at least telling them there's rain very soon in some case. Because otherwise I don't think we'd be seeing softs this much and this long being held out for most of the top drivers here.
Yeah, there's only so long they can go, but of course they don't want to have to pit for a set of dries before the set of wets. But at the same time, you don't want to get a puncture. And that could really take one of these drivers out of the race. I don't know at what point the puncture would kick in.
I think quite a while still. It's the wear in itself is not that high, it's just the pace drops off is quite big, as we see Camke going into. Yeah, he's deciding to bill out here. Go into the pits.
As is Harry Noir.
Choice. Yep. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, either way, if these guys stay out and they go to inters, they're going to have to make 2 stops anyway. So, you can gamble on it either way. Kind of just going for one wet stint or one dry stint. And obviously, you don't know what the weather after will be either way anyway. So, it's a very difficult scenario these drivers find themselves in. You see Camke and Harry Noir coming out of the pits. Jav not too far off, but the pace not quite there to really take an advantage. But we'll see how this plays out for the Red Bull and the Ferrari here.
Yeah, it's the top few drivers in the softs. The top 3 now have all split up a little bit. No DRS for any of them. Ryan B is closing down to James Head, but the only real battle we've got is this here. P5, P6, Bosnia, Mr. Wouter. Mr. Wouter, chance to send it up the inside, decides not to do it. I think wanting to get a little bit closer before it spends his ERS.
The main overtaking opportunity is always going to be in turn 1 here.
Ibo's on the inters.
Yep, he's decided for it already. We're going to have to see. Might mean we get some rain very soon. See the Dutchman right in the back here, so Major Falcon has opted to go into the pits from the mediums. That'll be interesting to see what he goes on to. So the AlphaTauri from Mr. Wouter is going up into P5 here. And then Mr. Wouter onto another, Major Falcon onto another set of mediums here.
More mediums for him.
So, interesting choice here. Gonna have to see.
I've not got a clue what's happening. I mean, the drivers are all making such different decisions that we have no idea when the rain's coming.
Oh, yeah, there is the rain coming. If you go on board, we can see a few drops here and there for certain drivers, which means Swift might have locked in his fastest lap potentially if it stays wet. So that's always a positive. And now it's just going to be a case of how quick does it come down, or is it just going to stay at this? I've seen races where, you know, the slicks just kind of remain as the better tire either way, even if it rains. So even that's another factor that could play the part. This could be very exciting. And how quick are these drivers going to build from the softs or the mediums to the inters as well? See, these guys still stay out, which is probably the wise decision.
Well, you can see here, I'm on board with Ibo. You can see the understeer of these Inters.
Yeah.
They're just not there yet, and he's going to be destroying them on this track. No water means tyre temperatures go through the roof. Tyre wear goes through the roof. He's possibly going to need to pit before the dry runners at this rate.
Potentially, we're going to have to see if it pays out for him in any way. I think it's nowhere near the Inters right now. So, it's very low amount of drops here still. Gonna have to keep an eye out on this and see these drivers fare. Actually, less grip now is definitely gonna mean it's gonna be a bit more of a struggle. Flip is opted to go into the pits, making already a second stop. I'm gonna see him potentially go into the Inters.
I think he'll go for mediums.
I think at this point, no, that's green wall tires.
Oh, it is. He's on to
Intermediates for the
Inters.
Williams.
Okay.
Very early there. Maybe it pays off, but right now it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, we will see. The rough rule of thumb is when DRS gets disabled, that's when you stick on those Inter tyres, but that isn't an outright kind of by the book rule. There's a bit of leeway, and I think we're still a very long way away from that. I mean, the rain isn't picking up too much just yet.
Bosnia's in, as we see Ryan B going for a move on James Head, and quite easily getting that done. Bosnia again as well. It's going to be interesting to see. These guys are going to be out of sauce for at least 15 laps. That's impressive. Bosnia has put on a set of fresh softs.
Okay.
That time. Interesting.
Well, medium soft
strategy.
Inter.
It can definitely work. Obviously, if you want to be on the dry tire, currently the softs are going to be the best. They work the best at a lower operating window in terms of tire temperatures, so they're a little bit easier to manage and do well and be quick on. So it's not a bad choice, especially looking at Cam K as well. He's 9 seconds ahead currently of Harnoark, and he's only about 15 seconds off the lead currently. Meaning he's gained like 7-8 seconds already on this stint. Not too bad from him.
Yeah, if I take the exact time, Cam K 15 off the lead, but yeah, I mean, he's just going to keep closing down, isn't it? Doing that extra pit stop nice and early. Sui is in, our leader is in. Matt's staying out, the rest of the front group are all staying out on track.
Yep, definitely. Mind you, let's see what he goes on to. Inters as well for the Aston Martin. I don't think it's anywhere near Inters. It doesn't look as if.
I think
it's getting a little bit worse.
It's a big mistake to do that.
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to see how far. This is our first real indication, as he's going to be around a lot of other drivers here. Major Falcon just passing Harry and Wark on the straight. See how much he loses out and how quickly he loses out to these guys behind. For now, I don't think it's anything else than slicks.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we're going to see Major Falcon get past Sweet nice and quickly. For the moment, just 3 drivers on the Inter tyre. Gives the others chance to learn, see how good they are, but at the moment the track is just not all that wet. No puddles around. Sadly, my interval is not working for the one driver I want it to work for.
We're going to have to see.
He's
losing. Yeah, he's losing still to Major Falcon. It's not as much as I probably would have expected. He's lost around a second this lap. So Major Falcon might pass by the end of the lap. James had decided to go into the pits very slowly, for that matter, as we see MCR as well following. I think it's getting closer to Inters. It's a very slow transition here right now. Seeing James opt for the green wall tires, and I reckon we'll see MCR do the same thing. Actually, he has another stop to make as well, despite his drive through.
Here we go. Major Falcon is through on Sui Ross, and Harry Noir might be about to follow through, decides against it. Interesting there. I would have thought wants to get that done as soon as he can on those fresher tyres. So they're not fresher tyres, on the dry tyres, which for the moment are the faster ones.
Here we go. So then the inside, and therefore, there's still more grip on those mediums. And Bosnia trying to benefit from that as well, getting alongside, running outside of turn 5.
Contact.
A very Yeah, very tight space left by Bosnia there, but just enough, I think. Gonna see if these inters are working better for James potentially as well. This is a very intriguing race, I have to say.
I mean, strategically, it's one of the more interesting ones because I don't know about you, but I simply have no idea what the best thing to do is. I think the guys who are doing a double dry stint are in best stead.
Yeah, we've seen people go in, but
MCR on fresh inters is getting past Jav. Well, I say getting past him. He's had a little contact with him, but I think that more falls. Whose fault? I'm not sure whose fault that is. I don't want to stew it here.
Sorry to interrupt. Mats and Ryan B have opted for softs, as well as Mr. Wouter.
Okay.
So they're deciding no, inters are not it, and we're gonna go on to softs, which means they might be doing, you know, for Matt's sake, a soft medium, and for others, a medium soft, or medium soft medium in some sort of way, or just hoping maybe he gets inters later.
Yeah.
That means CamK now has the lead by a whopping 8.5 seconds, and he's done this very well. I think he's made the strategic right choice for now, at least puts himself in a position where he has a bit of margin to play with and can react to others. For now, Dry seem better, but Swayros is putting his mark a little bit easier down. Usually he was past Harney mark about a lap and a half ago. He only lost about a second and a half.
As Flip is out of the race. Where has that happened? Oh, it's pit lane retirement. Okay.
Yep. He was pretty far down, so I guess that will be the reason as to why. Yeah, right now, so the CamK is losing a little bit of time to Major Falcon right now. Who seems pretty quick. Bosnia in behind as well on fresher tires, who's probably going to overtake him here. There's like yellow flags here. Not anymore. So Bosnia has free range to go at the Mercedes. Gets fast here.
He's getting past Sweet Ross. Yeah, these guys in the fresh soft tires, fastest drivers on the track. There we go.
Yeah, definitely right now.
It's 100% the tyre to be on. Major Falcon on the back of Bosnia. Anything gonna happen there? I think Bosnia's just got more pace at the moment on those softs. They'll be better in these conditions.
Steban has pitted off his hard. It's gonna be for his second stop. Let's gonna have a look. He and Jav as well could go to the end, should they want to. Should they go to Inter? So that's somewhat of a strategic advantage, I guess. They're gonna get themselves the lead back in the pack. This is getting very weird, because obviously if it does hit and there's Inters become the better tires, Mats passes Harnewar coming down towards turn 10, and I'm looking at it, it's becoming wetter. It could be very shortly that these Inters are going to become the better tire, and then these guys are going to have to all pit from that. But then if you're Sway Ross, James or MCR for example, do you then pit again, wait for it to dry out?
Ooh, Ryan, sorry, Harry Noir there, going wide on the final corner. I don't know if that was contact or not. Those two were so close through that final right-hander. Mr. Wout's going to get through on Harry Noir.
Yep, quite easily as well. I think it's getting close here. Mr. Burrows pitted again, so he's going to, for the second stop, he's fed in the pit lane though. So Jav did it earlier as well, so that's going to hurt them both in the long run. We've seen the Alfa Romeo go on to Inters as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be Inters a new front wing or retirement at this stage of the race. And it is Inters for that car.
Ross is catching Harry Noirk again. But I think he's losing still to Ryan B and Mr. Outerbed.
Yeah, I think I can agree with you there. And, just missing out on the DRS actually, which is still enabled at this stage of the race. But you can see that gap coming down. I think it's now wet enough that the mediums are worse than the inters, but the softs are still better because of the temperature at that operating window, which makes a very interesting strategic calls as to what you want to do. But the guys at front, I mean, all top 7 are on the dry compound. They've done their stops as mats. Okay, as is Harry Noir.
Yeah, Ibo as well, just up ahead. Yeah, Mats and Harry Noir. Inters, both of them? Question mark? Yes for Mats, yes for Harry Noir. So they've decided we're going to make a second stop and hope these interconditions, intermediate conditions, last to the end. I'm gonna see where they come out in relation potentially to Jav as well. They're gonna be well ahead actually of that. So Matt's pulling the gun here. Let's see if that works.
I think it's a couple laps too early.
Let's see.
I mean, I can understand there's always the risk of spinning if you stay out too long on those soft compounds, but in terms of pace, in terms of ability to drive them fast, the softs are still the fastest tire to be on. We're still seeing Sui lose to Mr. Walter here.
Obviously, it's not much of a difference, and you're getting your second stop out of the way. It's definitely a risk, I'd say, but it might be one worth to take. We'll have to see if he's going to gain. Let's going to have a quick look at what the gap to the leader is doing for Matt. Obviously, he's on the fresh inters. If that's going to come down, hopefully now with DRS that's quite irrelevant, but Mr. Wouter's also gone into the pit. If that gap is coming down, then obviously the inters are going to be the better tire here. James has gone in as well. That's an interesting one. He was
side by side, Ryan B and Major Falcon. Sorry to interrupt you there, but Ryan B getting, well, I say getting the better. He hasn't got the better of him yet. Still side by side. Major Falcon has defended, but hello, look at this. Nice little cheeky switchback through turn 3, and he's made that work beautifully well. Very, very nicely done by those two. Great battling. Ryan B coming out on top, but it's fresher, softer tyres. He's just going to give him that much more grip in these conditions.
So in the meantime, Mr. Wouter has pitted to a set of intermediates. Understandable. James has decided we're going back to the softs. So
how many
I think
stops
for that last in, let's see how that's gonna how that's gonna work, because obviously now the softs are gonna be cold. Are you gonna be able to get them up to temperature?
Yeah, I mean, it might be a case of a decision made too late coming back to bite you. We will see the top 6 have only done one of their 2 mandatory top stops so far. The rest of the drivers are good, as Ryan B is doing his second one as we speak, as is Major Falcon. As is Sweet Ross, weirdly. What's he sticking on? A set of sauce?
Or he goes into another set of inters. That's also possible. But then I would have gone on a bit longer and then get some fresher inters at the end. We're gonna have to see.
Yeah, more inters.
Another set of inters. Yeah, more inters for him. MCR still out on track. As
Ryan B coming out in P6, so he's done pretty well for himself. These guys who made their first stint last longer.
True. But he's
Yellow
lost time as
flag.
that's Ibo, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has lost out to Mr. Wouter, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was ahead of Mr. Wouter when Mr. Wouter pitted. So the inters might be the right choice. And then there's not much time left for Kamke in Bosnia to pit, otherwise they're gonna probably lose out quite a bit. I think it's maybe the right choice to just go for the inters at this point.
Right, so currently MCR to Bosnia 16.0. That's the current gap. It is slightly coming down, 15.9. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. See what's going on. Oh, you're right. Kamke has pit in Bosnia, is losing more time to MCR. So yeah, I think this is the lap to pit. Both of them have made this lap, the one in which they pit.
Yep, and it's just MCR left to pit for his second stop. Let's see what he's going to do. And he's going to come into the pits here as well. So that's going to be everyone on inters bar James Heads, who's currently still losing a little bit of time to Sway Ross as he's drifting through that penultimate corner. Holy. But yeah, if it drives back up, James has absolutely pulled a magnificent strategy. If it doesn't, quickly anyway, yeah, unfortunately, I think he's going to have to settle for around P10, P11 at a max.
Yeah, I mean, he's got somewhat of a gap behind him, but it is MCR and fresh inters behind him. If it gets more wet, MCR is going to get through. That is a man who has raw pace. He's shown time and time again. Fast in quali, fast in the race. But the leaders, Kamke did come out in first. He made his strategy work best. Freshest inters on the track, not necessarily a good thing. But he does have Mats and Mr. Wouter only just behind him. As DRS still enabled.
Yeah, that surprises me because if you look on track right now, it does look wet. Like, you'd absolutely say this is intermediate conditions. Why DRS is still enabled?
Ooh,
God
it
knows.
big moment there by Matt, and that allows Camke to get away, but more importantly, Mr. Walter to close up onto the back. We're going to see an overtake down the main straight. Well, we'll see that DRS wing open.
Ah.
Oh, do we? No, we don't see the DRS wing open.
DRS disabled at that moment, so the FIA might have been listening in here. So James has decided to bill out the softs and going to go onto a fresh set of inters. Might just not be viable anymore to stay out on the slicks. He's taking a gamble and it's not paid off, unfortunately. Let's see if Mr. Wouter is able to stay with Camke, or that Camke on this fresh inters is just going to be able to pull away.
Yeah, what's that? 1.7 seconds. Camke, he has the pace. We've seen it. He's the only man so far with 2 wins under his belt. One of 3 drivers who've got on the podium 3 separate times. So looking very, very strong this season. But it's what can he do with that pace? Can he show once again why he's in this championship fight, where he's doing so well in it? Actually may reclaim the championship lead, given MCR's not having the best of races this time around.
Yeah, currently it definitely looks like Camke will be taking that championship lead back. He's gaining 22 points as it stands. So there's definitely a lot of points in it. He's currently 13 behind, so that would be 9 ahead. Obviously still some time to go. But currently looking like he's expanding the gap. As the Slayer's gone out and retired, and we have a safety car.
Oh my goodness. That is such a shame for him. But I gotta say, as a commentator, you know this means that there is going to be some absolutely spectacular action these last few laps.
Wait, why is MCR in the pits? I'm sorry, you're in the freshest tyres on the grid. He's going to go in.
So
if it does not dry up, there's no reason to pit for him.
I mean, everyone but Stephen who can pit so far has. It's a fresh set of inters for him.
I guess so.
James not pitting. I mean, he's on completely fresh tyres. Swip is in as well. I'd imagine Axel is, because he's got enough space and he's far enough back down the order. Doesn't have a... No, he's got 3 seconds. Actually, yeah, Muster makes sense to pit because he can serve his 5 seconds. Or is he not one of them?
Ivo's gone on to a set of full wet in the meantime. They're quite that bad just yet.
Right, well, we'll see which of the front runners are going to choose to pit. I can't see Camke pitting. There's no point giving track position for tyres that aren't even all that old.
Yeah, currently I don't think he's gonna. But if you're looking at like Harry Noirk, Sway Ross, why not? You have the gap behind. Might only lose 1 position at best for Harry Noirk, if not any for Sway Ross. And knowing that, it's going to be a risk for the drives ahead, I think. So let's see.
Yeah,
top 4, top 5 staying out. Bosnia thought about it, stay out. Harry Noirk stay out. Yep.
And I think Stephen will be in as well, given the age of his tyres, although he didn't pit last time around, actually, did he, when he had the chance?
Yeah, I guess he still has the chance in that sense. He's not quite losing out that much. I think he was in P11, he will be in P11 once he pits, I think.
So, yeah, he is.
Yep. So, Sway Ross is going to be interesting to keep an eye out on. Obviously, MCR, James Hits, Mr. Puro, they're all on fresh tyres here as well. So, Slayer's left as well. Not a good day for Dutchies. 3 of them retired, but there's still 2 on the podium, so
yeah,
I guess it could be worse.
Always a lot of Dutch drivers around. I think it's Dutch and British are the 2 main ones you come across. So plenty to spare for incidents.
Most definitely. It's Steven's going to come out ahead of Mr. Puro. That's just a case of trying to catch up to the safety car. As for when we'll go back to racing, obviously it's caught up to its, I want to say,
imagine end of 28
now, this lap. So end of 28 at the earliest, which means we'd have 5 laps of racing remaining, which is certainly enough time to do something, especially in the intermediate conditions. We have to see if it works.
Yeah, although I will use this opportunity to quickly mute myself and have a mid-race Jaffa Cake break. So you'll hear from me back in a bit. For now, just watch the cars go around or watch Verstappen talk for a bit.
Alright, so he's enjoying that break. Just run you through Cam K on 3 lap old Inters, then it's Mr. Wouter on 5 lap old Inters, Matt's on 6 lap old Inters, Ryan B and Major Falcon in 4th and 5th, both 4 lap olds. Then Bosnia and 6 and 3 lap old Inters. Arnoark pretty old tires here, 6 laps. Same as Matt's obviously in P3. And Sway Ross is going to be interesting to keep an eye out on with the fresh Inters, now 1 lap old, but it's a safety car lap, so not much burns. MCR, same thing, has a chance to redeem himself after the drive-through earlier. Same goes for James Head after his strategy call. And it's definitely looking like Inters is nowhere near the slick conditions. A lot of spray kicking up as well. Steban, not quite in the race, obviously had an early stop for damage of some sort, I presume. He's gonna be trying to make some overtakes happen, not see much of a space, so we don't know how quick he's gonna be exactly, but definitely has some tire advantage over some people ahead. There's the Burn P12 as well as Swip, who still, I think, and is gonna keep that. Yes, he does have the fastest lap currently with a 1:14.8, so unless someone in intermediate conditions can go quicker than that, he'll probably hold on to that. If he finishes top 15, he'll get an extra point. With Jav and Axel have just pitted to fresh Inters, completely fresh. Gonna have to catch up a little bit quickly, but I think they could be in for a little bit of an advantage here. And definitely having the freshest tyres off the grid here. Although we might go in this lap, we'll have to see. Safety car across the line. We might be out for one more though.
Right, I am back, and it's going to be... don't think they're quite close enough, are they?
I don't think so. You never know on this game. It could do some weird things every now and then.
Sometimes it gives the call very, very late, but I think Axel just too far back for it to be this lap. We will find out as long as the safety car doesn't enter the pits right now. No, it is. It'll be lap 29, so 4 laps of green flag to finish us off. And you know that means the drivers are going to be oh so hungry to make the most of those 4 laps.
Yeah, and I think the drivers on all the tyres will be actually kind of glad about that. It's 1 lap less to be vulnerable, 1 lap less that they going to be under pressure from these guys on fresher Inters. And just relieves a little bit of the pressure in behind. We'll have to see. People like Sway Ross, MCR, James Head definitely have the pace to try and overtake a few of these drivers up ahead on all the tyres, so I think we'll see quite a bit of battling, hopefully all clean.
Ivo taking an odd line through the first chicane, but he's moving himself back to the back of the safety car queue. But you can see even this far back right at the back of the queue, there isn't really that much of a dry line being made. As Ivo nearly losing the cart there as proof.
Yeah. If anything, I think it's just getting a little bit of weather here and there. Not that much that we have to go to full wets, I don't think, but it's definitely full-blown intermediate conditions here.
Yeah, certainly slick's not the play anymore. Actually, I've always wondered, does the safety car get even wet tyres, or is he stuck on whatever he's got regardless? I've never really paid attention.
Well, they're road tyres, right, so they can dispose the water pretty normally.
Does this game simulate a slower safety car in the rain? Given its Codemasters,
I think it does to an extent. I think it does, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll have to see. I know for a fact in Formula 2 cars it's not slower on the straights, which means it's quite a bit difficult to keep up with it on the straights, especially tracks like Baku. In the meantime, we're going to go for a 4-lap race shootout with Cam K leading the grid here. He's going to be leading the safety car restart. Where is he going to go? Where is he going to try and dispose of Mr. Wouter in behind? And all others further back as well, obviously. Think in the wet, he's going to go quite early there. And has got a little bit of gap. Mr. Weather was pretty awake, but Mats is not as much, and he's going to be under pressure from Ryan B potentially. So the overtakes allowed before the start-finish line. We've seen Sway Ross trying to get alongside. Harry Warwick here for P7 and making use of his fresh Inters. MCR is trying to get involved as well. Maybe 3 wide down towards turn 1. MCR backs out with Sway Ross and Harry Noir still fighting it out. Sway Ross getting through and Harry Noir having to take a bit of the high road. James hitting the back of him as well, so they have contact, and then Harry Noir is into the gravel there.
Yeah, damage to his front wing there. MCR getting through. Cannot remember which car it was contact with us. We've had James Heads lost a few positions here. Another front wing being smashed up.
It was
side
James
by
Head,
side. Oh my goodness. Axel getting past Jav and Swip, but only just further up. Sweet getting a move on Bosnia. Never mind. Bosnia fending.
Right here. Not quite here. Oh, it runs into the back of the Williams though. Has to be careful on the brakes there. And also with MCR in behind, could be vulnerable. Camk at the front is a 1.3 second gap. Sway running wide on the exit of turn 9 is going to allow MCR and Steban to probably benefit, at least just MCR. Steban has a big launch. And
okay.
That was too much.
Yeah.
That was far too much. I would be very surprised if that doesn't get penalized in any sort of way. In the meantime, looking at the front here, 1.6 now for Kamke. He's just quicker out there, and he made the right decision potentially by staying out. Because otherwise, he would have been down in potentially P6, P7.
Axel's in. Axel's into the pits. That must be one of the drivers who lost their front wing then. MCR going for a move on Bosnia here. He's on a recovery drive. And actually backing out of the overtake. Interesting there, deciding not to go for it down the main straight. He's got 3 laps left to work with. He knows the front 2 have escaped. It's this batter here he's got to work with. Third's the best he could hope for. He wants to get through them as quickly as he can. Well, it looks like he's got Bosnia here up the inside line. If he can get himself locked into that slightly drier line, which he can, and that should hold him in here. Force Bosnia the long way round. He's not done that, but Bosnia not breaking any later and does settle in for P7 there.
Yeah, MCR making use of this, but not trying to overdo it. Obviously, in the championship fight, you don't want to, risk losing 10 points to gain 2. So
you don't want to make any enemies on track.
It's about taking a measured risk here.
It's not just the stewards you have to worry about making an enemy of, it is the other drivers as well, because you annoy a driver one too many times and they're not going to give you quite as much space as they might some of the others. But I know MCR, from what I've seen, very, very respectful racer here. Already brought himself right onto the back of Major Falcon. As the front 2 drivers, Kamke and Mr. Walter, are gone. I mean, Kamke, mighty, mighty fast. Mr. Walter still pulling away from Mats, though. 2 seconds in each of those gaps. Mats does have to worry about defending. He's got a bit of a gap, not a humongous one.
Here comes Major Falcon closer to Ryan B. MCR doesn't seem to have much straight line speed. He's going to have to take some different lines to try and get alongside Major Falcon potentially. Actually, ERS is quite low as well. Stephen and Mr. Burrow fighting. We're seeing Randy outside of turn 3 potentially. Not quite.
Ooh,
Ryan B had a bit of an error. And that might allow these 3 to all bunch up. We're seeing MCR down the inside. Oh, Major Falcon, bit of a contact. Gets alongside Ryan B immediately as well. Side by side down towards turn 5. A little bit of contact there. Ryan B very deep. Holds onto the position.
Yeah, MCR needed to go for the cutback, and it was not the line he took. He wasn't ready for that, and now slightly under threat from behind. No, he is safe. Major Falcon himself defending from Bosnia, who's right on his rear. But this battle here for P3 just kicking off. Actually, he's allowed Mats to escape ever so slightly. But MCR is certainly making moves here.
It definitely is, but he's going to have to try a little bit more to get past Ryan B. Then towards turn 1 might be an opportunity, but as said, straight line speed is not high in the McLaren. And he only has 1 lap to do it, so he's going to have to find another way. Maybe down towards turn 4 as well. He's going to be able to gain for these last couple of corners, although that's not a great line from the McLaren. And loses a little bit of ground. Final lap, here we go. And no time is being gained by MCR here.
Yeah,
so
not really.
in position, they're going to keep moving.
No ERS to work with whatsoever. He's down at 0% there. So he'll be lucky to get a move, but we've seen the strength of him through the corners. It's where he's at his best. You can see here just gaining, burning overtake mid-corner there. Perhaps not the place to go for it, but he knows this is one of the last opportunities.
Exit here. Potentially? It doesn't quite get it right there. That's unfortunate. He's going to have a few more opportunities maybe towards the end of the lap. Maybe out of here. I think it's a little bit too far-fetched to try and overtake him. It doesn't look like MCR is quite under control of where he wants to overtake Ryan B, and that's leaving Ryan B in P4 for now. Mats is seemingly going to hold on to this P3 right now, and obviously the top 2 look pretty settled in as well.
It is kind of a now or never towards this braking zone, and he's not gone for it. Is anyone else going to go for it? We might see Ultimate go for a move further down. He's certainly trying on the Alpine of Stephen here. I do not want to miss our leader Camke go across the line, so I will hop on board with that driver who has shown huge strength here. It's actually MTR is side by side with Ryan B further back. I think that interval very close. Mr. Walter, a well-deserved P2 there as MCR, oh my goodness, to the left, to the right, it is Ryan B who holds on though. Major Falcon P6, Bosnia P7, then Jarv, Stephen able to fend off Muster, James getting P11 as Swip at a penalty, Swee Ross, the last few drivers having penalties here, and then Swip a lap down and had a bit of fun restarting on the softs, but there was some close battles there at the end. MCR properly aggressive, Muster right on the back of Stephen.
Yeah, definitely a lot of battles. Jav kind of out of nowhere crawled up to the back of that pack as well. Just kind of didn't notice him until he was there. He's done well to get himself a P8 after getting on those inters right at the end. Very fresh inters, so he's up into P8. And yeah, this is going to be interesting because in the standings, I think Camke is going to take the lead with exactly 1 point as it stands. So this championship battle is definitely back on, you could say.
Yeah, what was it? Gained 14 points, was 13 points behind, so yeah. There's somehow Sweet Ross's DNF after crossing the line. How do you manage
somehow, that if you leave the session before you kind of go to the results screen, it DNFs your car. But you'll be classified in P13 where he was initially, so that should not be an issue, but just has to be noted.
Ibo spins across the line. That brings an end to this round 6 here, the Spanish Grand Prix for LOE Division 3. And what a chaotic end.
Definitely a chaotic end.
But to be fair, very good driving standards for the most part. I'm sure the stewards will give a little knock on Stephen's door, but apart from that, I didn't see anything too audacious.
Yeah, no, all round pretty alright. There's obviously the incident here or there that's gonna happen, but especially with Harry Nork and James that we saw on the restart as well, for example. But there's all round an improvement definitely in driving standards compared to Singapore. Ready for the results. Camke and Mr. Wouter and Matt are podium sitters here today. With Ryan being P4, then MCR on P5 with Major Falcon P6, Bosnia P7, Jav P8, Steven P9, Mr. Burrow P10, then James at P11, Swip P12 with a fastest lap point as well added on to that. Swaros will be classified as P13, as you can see the time if the penalties go away for a second. It would be in P13. Axel would be then P14 with Harry Newark 15th, riding out the points being positions, with Ibo just outside of that. With Slayer, Flip, Energetics and Crack all not finishing it today.
Yeah, but what a race, what an end. Axel there on a 5-stop. Some of the other drivers on a 2-stop. In fact, all top 4 drivers were on a 2-stop. So showing that perhaps less pit stops was in fact the way to go that race, but certainly left plenty of opportunities open in terms of strategy. Even if in the end the simplest strategy was the optimal one to go for.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Camke did the right thing by pulling the gun pretty early on, so he realised it's going to be a long way to keep their softs alive. And I think that benefited him because he came out with a big lead after the safety car. Obviously that got cut out in a little bit here and there after we went to inters. But he was still in the lead, he was still the quickest at that point. And I think he fully deserved to win here today.
Yeah, I completely agree. Camke did just... I mean, he was going to win before the safety car. He was still going to win after. He did well to hold on. Didn't let the safety car bother him. Of course, the drivers all had a slight bit of shock with the no formation lap. I don't know if that was the host's fault or what went on there. Just Codemasters being Codemasters. I'm sure that will get raised in some shape or form. But a very good race nonetheless, with some amazing racing under that last 4 laps of green flag. We had the interesting thing of what strategy do you go for. seemed the double dry stint onto the Inters was the optimal one. I think that's what Kamke went for in the end, but a very, very good race. And where are we next week? On to Baku. So that promises...
Actually, I should reiterate, and this will be reiterated in the Discord, we will have a break week next week, obviously. With the Jeddah Real Life Grand Prix, this starts at 5 p.m. And with the risk of red flag, safety cars, whatever not, it could extend beyond the Division 1 and 2 times, and it just puts us in a very difficult position. Obviously, the start times were announced pretty late all around in the season, so we kind of just guessed it beforehand. But we've moved the break week to next week. So next week we will not have a race, and then on the 16th of March we will have the race in Baku to continue round 7 of the championship.
Nice. Okay, we'll look forward to that in 2 weeks. Dan, I was just looking at the calendar and seeing that the 16th didn't have anything, but I guess it's the 9th that have nothing racing on the 16th. And I think possibly I'll be missing the 23rd. I think I've got either the 23rd or the 30th. One of them, decent chance I won't be in the commentary box for that one. I'll let you know as and when.
Of course.
But, yeah, another fun race, another championship kind of important race, given Kamke is now back through to the lead by a whopping singular point, as he picks up his 3rd win of the season, his 4th podium of the season. MCR keeping up the consistencies, ignoring the sprint race where he got P8. He is not finished outside of the top 5 the entire season. So I mean, without question the most consistent driver there. But even finishing top 5 every race, that's not been enough to stop Kamke, who just seems to keep on winning. We're 6 rounds in, he's won 3 of them, he's got P2 in another one. Didn't do too well at Singapore with either the sprint race or the main race, and struggled a little bit at Monza as well. And by struggled I mean P8, even then not a bad result from him. But those two shaping up to do very, very well in this championship. Actually, where does Mats end up compared to them in the end? Where did he finish?
Finished P3, so he would gain 21 points.
Yeah, so he's not too far adrift. He'll be on 101. Meanwhile, well, I guess Kamke 131. So he's a win adrift off the back of those top 2. So it really is those two standing out at the moment. But yeah, not even halfway through the season yet, so still plenty more to play for as we go on. Anything else to say, or do you think wrap up here, look forward to 2 weeks time at Baku?
I think that's the way to go about it.
Yeah, okay, well then thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in 2 weeks time for round 7.